People in the restaurant turned their heads the moment she walked in. Even out of uniform, even in simple jeans and a tied-back ponytail, there was an aura she could never hide. Lieutenant General Amelia Carter had spent 27 years commanding battalions, leading rescue operations, and stepping into war zones most people only saw on the news. But today wasn't about any of that. Today was about keeping a promise to her 14-year-old son, Noah, who had been lonely since the divorce and quietly battling feelings he never spoke about. Tonight was supposed to be simple, just dinner, just the two of them, no ranks, no soldiers needing her, no emergencies pulling her away. But the universe had its own plans. Before the waiter could even seat them, Amelia's eyes locked onto a sight that stopped her mid-step. At the far corner of the restaurant, next to the service door, sat a man in a faded gray janitor uniform. He hunched over a small plate of fries, pushing them around like he didn't really care to eat. Across from him sat a little girl, maybe 6 or 7, her hair tied in uneven ponytails, a pink backpack next to her chair. She giggled at something she was drawing with crayons. The man looked exhausted but smiled at her with all the strength he had left. There was something painfully familiar in that smile, the smile of someone who fought battles no one knew about. Noah tugged his mom's arm. "Mom, you okay?" Hooking the viewer instantly, Amelia blinked, and something inside her whispered, "This matters. You'll understand later. Stay." They sat at their table near the center of the restaurant, but Amelia kept glancing back at the pair. The man looked like he had worked a double shift. His hands were calloused, his uniform sleeves frayed, and his boots scraped down to their last days. Yet the way he listened to his daughter, leaning forward, nodding as if every crayon line she drew was a masterpiece, said more about him than any uniform Amelia had ever worn. Their food arrived, but Amelia barely touched hers. "Mom, you keep staring at that guy," Noah said, half teasing, half curious. "Do you know him?" "No," she said softly. "But I know his look." "What look?" "The look of a parent who gives everything, and still feels like it's never enough." Noah lowered his eyes. That hit closer to home for him than she realized. Across the room, the little girl tugged her father's sleeve. "Daddy, can we get real food next week? Not just fries." The father forced a smile. "I'll try, sweetheart. Daddy's working on it. Promise." A pause. A heavy one. "Yes, promise." But he didn't sound sure. Noah swallowed hard. "That's kinda sad. It's reality for many people," Amelia said. "But sometimes, reality needs help." For the first time in years, Noah looked at his mother with a mixture of admiration and discomfort. "Mom, what are you thinking?" Amelia didn't answer. Because her thoughts were already pulling her back 9 years earlier, back when she was just a major with a toddler son, no husband, no support, and barely enough money to keep the lights on. She remembered working late shifts, picking Noah from daycare with trembling hands, praying he wouldn't ask for toys or treats she couldn't afford. She remembered crying inside the supply closet at the base so no one would see her weakness. Everything in that janitor's face reminded her of herself. The man finished eating, or pretending to, and packed the leftover fries into a napkin. He checked his phone, sighed, and sent what looked like a long message. Probably to a landlord or someone chasing him for a bill. Then the little girl dropped her crayon box. The crayons scattered across the floor. Before she could pick them up, 2 teenagers at the next table snickered. One said loudly, "Guess. Even her crayons can't stand being here." The dad stiffened. The girl's eyes watered. Noah sat up abruptly, offended on their behalf. Amelia shot the teenagers a sharp stare, the kind only a high-ranking general could give. The boys shut up instantly. Amelia leaned forward toward her son. "Stay here. I'll be right back." She walked toward the janitor and his daughter. He immediately tried to stand, embarrassed, but she gestured for him to stay seated. "Hi," she said gently. "I couldn't help noticing you dropped your crayons. My son used to drop everything at that age. May I help?" The little girl nodded shyly. The father cleared his throat. "Ma'am, thank you, but you don't have to." "It's no trouble," Amelia said with a smile that came from somewhere deep inside her. "Besides, she reminds me of someone I used to be." The man looked confused, but Amelia didn't explain. She bent down, picked up every crayon, wiped one with a napkin, and placed the box neatly back on the table. The girl smiled. "Thank you, lady." "You're welcome, sweetheart." Amelia stood, intending to walk away, but something stopped her. Something heavy in the man's eyes. "How long have you been working today?" she asked softly. He hesitated, then admitted, "Since 5 a.m. Triple shift. Someone called in sick. And rent is due." He chuckled bitterly. "My life isn't usually this messy." "Well, most of the time it is, actually." "What's your name?" Amelia asked. "Daniel. And your daughter?" "Emma." Emma waved proudly. Amelia smiled. "Pretty name." Then she did something Noah, and the entire restaurant, would never forget. She signaled the manager. The manager hurried over, surprised by her commanding presence. "Yes ma'am. How can I help?" "Put their entire meal on my bill," she said. "And bring them 2 full plates of dinner. And dessert. Something warm. Something real." Daniel's eyes widened. "Ma'am, no, you don't have to do that." "I know. But I want to." "Why?" Amelia inhaled slowly, letting the truth settle between them. "Because when I was where you are now, no one helped me. And sometimes all a parent needs is one night, one moment, one reminder that they're not alone." Daniel's breath shook. Emma hugged his arm. "I don't know how to thank you," he whispered. "You already did," Amelia said. "You're raising your daughter with love. That's all the thanks the world should ever need." When she walked back to her table, Noah stared at her like he was seeing her for the first time. "That was, actually amazing," he said quietly. Amelia brushed his hair. "Noah, listen to me. If you want to be strong, truly strong, you help people who can't repay you. That's real power." The manager brought out steaming plates for Daniel and Emma: chicken, mashed potatoes, vegetables, warm rolls, ice cream. The little girl gasped like it was Christmas. And Daniel, he lowered his head into his hands. Not out of shame, but because kindness was a language he hadn't heard in a long time. Amelia saw him wipe tears quickly, pretending it was nothing. Noah whispered, "Mom, can we do more?" Amelia's chest warmed. "What do you have in mind?" "Maybe dessert. For the dad too. And maybe, a toy for his kid later." Amelia squeezed his hand. "That's my boy." Before they left, Daniel ran up to them. "Ma'am," he said, "I want you to know, I wasn't always a janitor. I used to fix engines in the army. Then, life happened. I fell behind. But tonight you made me feel human again." Amelia's expression softened, deeply. "A job never defines a person. Character does." He nodded, eyes shining. As Amelia and Noah walked out of the restaurant, Noah said, "Mom, I want to be like you." "You already are." They stepped into the cool night, leaving behind warmth that would stay in that restaurant long after they were gone. But the story didn't end there. A week later, Daniel received a call from a number he didn't recognize. It was the maintenance chief at the local Army logistics base. Someone had anonymously recommended him for a job opening that matched his old experience, fixing military vehicles. Stable hours, good pay, benefits, a future. Daniel got the job, and when he showed up on his first day, he found a note in his locker. "For Emma's dad. You've fought long enough alone. Now go win the rest with support. A friend." He knew exactly who it was. And he cried again, but this time, with hope. Sometimes the strongest heroes are the ones who lift others quietly, without medals or recognition. Sometimes the highest ranks are worn not on uniforms, but in the heart. And if you're watching this video right now, remember, a single act of kindness can change a life. Sometimes even save it. So if this story touched you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and help spread kindness, one story at a time.